Welcome to the show. We are joined today by Old Dominion men's soccer coach Tennant McVea. How you doing, Tennant?
Very good, lads. We just arrived here in North Carolina. We're playing Campbell tomorrow evening, so just off the bus into the hotel. Guys are getting sorted out right now, and looking forward to another game tomorrow.
All right, Coach. So, hey, why don't we start from the beginning here? Obviously, this is the beginning of your reign, so to speak, at Old Dominion as the head coach of Old Dominion Soccer. Talk to us a little bit about how that's going so far.
It's going great. Obviously, taking over at the end of last season and the full spring under my belt has given me a lot of opportunity to kind of get my feet wet, so to speak. So it's been nice to have a group of guys with us in the springtime where we can sort of set our standards and expectations, and then also add to that group with a really exciting class that we've been able to bring in. So it's been a journey. I will say that. Obviously, I've been with the university for a long time and I've been in coaching for a long time, but when you start having to make all of the decisions yourself and the buck really falls on you, it adds a little bit of an extra dimension to it. But all exciting stuff, and I'm really enjoying the transition so far.
All right, so me and Aaron were lucky enough to come to practice and the first scrimmage against UNC Wilmington, and you kind of walked us through the type of play you're trying to implement here for this team. It's a different strategy, but fans that haven't seen it yet, talk to them about what your goal is with this team.
I obviously want to play a really exciting brand of football. We want to score a lot of goals. At the end of the day, that's the fun part of the game. So, we've managed to achieve that in pre-season and so far at the start of the season. So really a brand of football that is based around controlling the tempo and the possession of the game, but being really positive with what we do and try to get our exciting attacking players into play and score lots of goals.
For someone who's not say a soccer aficionado who watches it casually, that wants to come out to a game, what are one or two things that you would point them to pay attention on the field to really kind of maybe understand what you're trying to do, or where they should train their eyes?
Well, obviously there's multiple phases within a soccer game. From an attacking standpoint, uh, how are we looking to control the ball in our own half of the field in order to create opportunities to move the ball forward? So look for players who are able to skip lines with passes, take other players out of the game on the defensive side, and then how can we penetrate, which would mean play the ball in behind the other team in order to get towards the goal. So really what we're trying to do is manipulate a team with possession of the ball, move them horizontally in order to create gaps going forward for our attacking players to penetrate. And that's really the key with the ball. Without the ball, I would say that what we're trying to do is press heavily, and we want to make other teams uncomfortable. Um, it's important for us to be able to make other teams uncomfortable with the ball, because they're trying to do exactly what we're trying to do without it.
All right, so you're in the midst of your season. You've played two games so far, one against George Washington, which you guys were victorious, and then you played a very talented team in VCU this week, losing 3-1. They just got ranked 14th in the top 25 for soccer rankings. Looking forward, the Sun Belt is loaded with talented teams. How can this team compete this season with that talented schedule?
It's a great question. Obviously, coming up against VCU is a very talented team, and that was a great test for us the other night. On the road, it's always a difficult game. For us, it's all about a process. How can we keep getting better every single day in order to be playing our best soccer at the end of the season? We want to be playing against good teams every week. That's what makes us better. So that challenge that we have to rise to as a staff, that our players have to rise to as we move forward, is extremely important. But if we stay on topic, we continue with the process every day, we're gonna keep making strides and progress. So I think it's just really important that the guys stay detail orientated. We're not going to win every game, so we've got to learn something from every game. And we learned a lot of lessons on Tuesday night against a VCU team who I think will be very successful this year. But it sets us up nicely moving forward, and hopefully gives us a taste of what other good college soccer teams are going to throw at us.
So, Tennant, it's clear that you got a vision and you know exactly what you want to do on the pitch and how you want to execute those things. In order to be able to do those, you have to have the student athletes that can do that for you. Talk to Monarch Nation a little bit about what you look for in your student athletes and how you have those conversations with them to attract them to Old Dominion.
100%. I think ultimately, and I've told our staff this from the outset, I want good people. We have to recruit good people that have the right type of character traits that they're going to help them be successful moving forward. It's all well and good having a lot of talent, but if you don't want to work hard, you don't want to be disciplined, you don't want to do the ugly things day in and day out that help you be great, then that talent is a little bit wasted. So spending time with student athletes as we recruit them, getting to know them on a more personal level, getting to know their families is really important to us, because that really shows us what type of drive that they have. We want people who are going to continue to get better on and off the field every day. And that's something that we preach to our players all of the time. We've always had talented players at this program. And right now, I think it's the character of the people that it's going to drive us forward. So we're open and honest with players as they come in, because at the end of the day, we have expectations for them. And if they want to buy into what we're trying to do, then we'd be glad to have them. But ultimately, if I would sum it up in a nutshell, hopefully when you leave our program, you're not only a better football player, but you're also a better person. And that is extremely important to me.
All right. So moving forward, tomorrow we face Campbell. What can you tell us about this Campbell squad?
Campbell are always an extremely talented team. We know the staff there very well. They recruit very well. They're going to play a very attractive brand of football as well. They want to be attacking. They're going to have some exciting players. So for us, it's a great matchup on the road again. Obviously, this little road stretch that we've been on always brings some challenges. But at the end of the day, nice pitch down there. We've got a good group. We're feeling good about ourselves. So can we go out and outwork them, match them in the percentage battles, and win the game that way? So, this road stretch has been difficult for us, but it's a nice venue to go to on grass. Both teams are going to try and play a little bit of football, and I'm really excited about that matchup.
All right, so you just talked about Campbell. On Sunday, though, you guys come home after being on the road for 3 games for a game against Radford. Can you talk to us a little bit about Radford, the first of 5 games in a row, I think, that are going to be at home? Great opportunity for Monarch Nation to get out and see you guys.
No, 100%. It's always nice to come home, and that's been another point of emphasis for me. We have to be good at home. Protecting our own turf and making sure it's a really difficult for teams to come to play is extremely important. So getting home brings a little bit of excitement. I know the guys are sick of hotels and food on the road, so it'll be nice to get home. And Radford will come down, and they'll pose a few different challenges for us. They're obviously a team that are rebuilding a little bit after last year. We went up there and beat them on the road, but always a difficult challenge. When it's a great day for soccer, not just for men's soccer, but also the women have a game on Sunday night. We've got a double header. So for anybody that is into the game and wants to learn and get involved in it, then it's a great day to be around. And I think it'll be a good test for us, but hopefully one that we can come out the right side of and feel good about ourselves.
And for those of you who haven't been to a game at OU Soccer Complex, they do have a nice little beer garden. It's right on the field. It's pretty cool access. Definitely worth a visit. We had a great time at the scrimmage we attended, and we plan on going to a lot more games this season. So I'd like to ask you about scouting. So obviously you have a couple games coming up, and you already have a pretty good notion of how those teams play. How far in advance, and how does that process work for you guys?
That's a really interesting one. I think recruiting is probably the biggest part of our job. At the end of the day, we want to attract top level student athletes to our program, and we recruit all over the country and all over the world. But the level that we're playing at, it's important that we have great contacts in all sorts of areas, and really we use them and utilize them as much as possible. It's a difficult part of the job, and it's ever changing in the college soccer environment, because the rules keep shifting and everything's changing. And it's not just in soccer, it's happening all across. Obviously, the transfer portal has made a really big dent in that as well. So it's an interesting climate to be in. Obviously, when I started doing this, it was a more traditional climate where you recruited a player, they came to play for you, you had them for 4 years. And now the opportunity for players to kind of make decisions to leave or to jump ship has changed that a little bit. But for us, how can we create an environment where our student athletes feel like Old Dominion is home for them? They want to stay with us. They want to grow over a 4-year period. That's important. Retention on and off the field is important. So it is something that we are extremely invested in. It's not just a 6-month out, it's a year, maybe 2 years in some cases in advance, that we're starting to really identify players and really, like I talked about, getting in to know them as people rather than just players. So it's difficult. It can be challenging at times, but it's also a very rewarding part of the job, and you get to meet some fantastic people. And it's a part that I really enjoy.
All right, so We just had the opportunity to talk to a bunch of the football players the other day. The big thing in their world right now is this new NCAA football game at the college football game that they're all in. With these games, you can create players and you can do all kinds of different things. I'm curious if you could create your prototypical soccer player, and you could piece them together, whether it's height, speed, know-how, whatever it is, what would be your perfect guy?
6 foot plus, double footed, that has a lot of athleticism, not just vertically but horizontally, and can jump through the roof. That would be perfect for me. Obviously a high soccer IQ is something that's important. Our game's a little bit different to American football, and obviously a big American football fan, but the intricacies of our football are a little bit different. So that IQ for a player is extremely important, and somebody who can think about the game, can see what's going to happen 2, 3 passages down the line is important. But those physical traits are important as well, but high IQ would be nice.
All right, so my last question, you answered it beautifully, but I think some wires that got crossed. I asked you about scouting. You answered
Yeah.
about recruiting. When you're scouting your opposition, how far in advance are you scouting?
So at this time of the year, we don't have a lot of data. We have data from last year when teams, and sometimes you can go back and look at what the traits of that team are from the past. And some coaches are pretty strict with what it is that they do, and it's the same year to year. Other times and other philosophies mean that they're changing things pretty consistently. At this time of the year, it's probably we only have access to 1 or 2 games, so we're looking at those 1 or 2 games really in depth. All of our staff have experience and expertise in doing that. Josh has taken the lead for me. Coach Spencer's taken the lead at the start of this season and has done a great job so far. So every week, as soon as we get finished with the one that we're focused on, the next game's always the focus. Then we're turning our attention to the next one. But it doesn't mean to say that maybe we aren't watching other teams around the country in the weeks leading up to that. We would call that fun as well. It's not just a part of the job. Like being able to sit down in your house on a Tuesday evening and watch some good college soccer is never the worst thing in the whole world. So it's a really integral part. It's about a week, hopefully, not 2 weeks out, but where we can really put our focus on it. And it's a really enjoyable, rewarding part of the game.
All right, so Mike and I always try to ask a fun question or two. We've got less than a minute left with you, Coach. So I'm going to ask you one fun one. I'll throw it to Mike to ask one fun one and let him wrap it up. All right, so you're going to get home here in a day or so. What is the one restaurant that is really, really tasty, but you would never want your players to eat at right before a game?
Oh, right before a game. I'm going to throw Jack Brown's in Norfolk is going to be the one there. Obviously, it's somewhere that we would take recruits to pretty often, and I really enjoy it. So Jack Brown's would be the one.
Jack Brown's is a good choice. Great dive bar atmosphere.
Yep.
Good food. All right. So we've asked a lot of coaches this question, but we always get some interesting responses. If there was one rule change you could implement in NCAA soccer, what would it be?
Well, here's what I would say. We should follow FIFA rules. So that might sound a little bit. There's a lot to cover there. Our substitution rules just change the game, but it needs to follow FIFA guidelines. That's the big, the main one that we would throw in there. Sometimes the game, the clock counting, the referee doesn't have control of it on the field. Like, just change it to the FIFA rules so that everyone's playing the same sport. The women are playing a different game to us right now because they still have re-entry subs. So it's become a little bit muddled. Just follow FIFA rules.
Coach, thank you so much for joining us today. I appreciate it. Best of luck in your game tomorrow night, and we can't wait to see you on Sunday.
No, I really appreciate it, guys. It's an exciting part of the year for us, and I want it to be an exciting part of the year for our fans. We love seeing you guys out there, and hopefully I'll catch you guys at a women's game in the beer garden for a few, as the season goes on.
We're going to keep talking to Tennant throughout the season, keep track on this squad. We want everyone to come out and support this squad, so get out to the Lions Den. Thank you, Tennant. Go Monarchs.
Go Monarchs.
Go Monarchs.